All right, so I want you to take a look at this right here. What this is a pretty standard trademark registration form. Now, this trademark was filed back on August 16th of 2018, which makes a lot of sense considering around this time, Bitcoin, along with other cryptocurrencies, started gaining major headwinds and popularity among the masses. But when it comes to this form, most of you missed the most important part, and that, my friends, is exactly who filed this trademark form. And as we can see right there, the name, Dahlia Rothschild, which for anyone not living in Davos, Switzerland, that name is going to sound pretty familiar, and most likely not in a positive way. Now, do we know if this Dahlia Rothschild is actually part of the Rothschild family? Well, we don't know that, and there's certainly strong evidence for both sides. And I'm sure the Rothschild family does a great job at making sure they have the maximum amount of privacy. Even though I'm sure they work very hard to make sure that we don't have ours, but hey, that's neither here nor there. But whether or not the Rothschild family plans on having their own cryptocurrency exchange one day, or maybe they already do, sorry guys, it must be the monkey pox that Klaus Schwab put in my water this morning. But regardless, it does shine light on a major movement that's been happening the last 5 years, which is the amount of money and resources that the global elites have been putting towards cryptocurrency and digital assets in general. I mean, some are even accepting payments for their political campaigns through digital assets. Now, I definitely have my thoughts on where I think all this is headed, but I'll share them towards the end of the video, so be sure to stick around. But regardless, of course, this all seems so strange to me, considering that even just 5 years ago, many of these leaders were calling cryptocurrencies a scam. Even our beloved Bill Gates said that he doesn't own any crypto because it doesn't have any valuable output and isn't adding to society. But of course, that's how this all works, right? A new innovation enters the market, it gains a lot of traction, and then global elitists typically trash the idea publicly, and then it starts to become very popular with the masses, and then the elitists find a way to have it benefit them, and then finally, the last and final piece, they find a way to centralize and control it. And if there are a couple of things that we know for a fact, it's that there will one day be a global digital currency, and the World Economic Forum is ensuring that it's centralized by them and the global elites. But of course, there are currently hundreds, if not thousands, of different cryptocurrencies that you can choose from, along with the option of creating a new centralized bank digital currency. But as they say, there can only be one. And through countless hours of research and conversations with industry experts, well, there were 3 letters that just seemed to pop up over and over and over again. And those 3 letters, XRP. Which, hey, that makes me pretty happy considering that I've been a holder ever since our very own director, Nick, told me to get some. So thanks, Nick.
You're welcome.
But upon further research, I discovered that there's so much more to XRP and Ripple than just Nick and I making a good chunk of money. And that's the possibility of XRP one day being the world's centralized bank digital currency. In fact, Ripple, the company behind XRP, is one of the few organizations that have very close relations and partnerships with the World Economic Forum. The WEF throughout the last few years has actually propped up Ripple and has given executives such as Brad Garlinghouse massive platforms such as Davos 2022. On top of that, Ripple has partnered with the Federal Reserve and even recruited former US Treasurer Rosie Rios to its board. And oh, by the way, remember this guy? The one who says that crypto has no valuable output and doesn't add anything to society? Well, as it turns out, his very own foundation is partnering with Ripple on a project that will certainly add to society. But of course, with all that said, as many of you may already know, XRP has had its fair share of obstacles, including a legal battle with the SEC that's been occurring since December 22nd, 2020. Which, to quickly summarize the official SEC complaint in layman's terms, Christian Larson, the former CEO of Ripple, and Bradley Garlickhouse, the current CEO, were accused of raising capital to grow their company back in 2013 through selling XRP through an unregistered securities offering. And on top of that, they distributed billions of XRP in exchange for labor and services, meaning they pretty much did what every other business does in the world when they first start out, which is to sell your product and services and then reinvest those earnings towards scaling your business. But of course, the SEC wasn't too happy because all of that pretty much happened without them, which, if you're playing the game, yes, you should probably know the rules. But with all that said, here's the big question I have. Even despite Ripple being in a nasty lawsuit over the last 18 months with the SEC, well, why have so much of the wealthy elites and even members of the World Economic Forum invested into XRP, along with setting up big relations and big plans for it in the future?
Look, there is clearly examples where these can be used. What Ripple is doing with our digital asset that we use in our technology stack called XRP is solving a cross-border payments problem.
Okay, so why XRP? Well, simply put, a lot of evidence evidence shows that XRP is currently being propped up to be the world's centralized bank digital currency, aka the thing that will replace the dollar and also other fiat currencies. And really, XRP is already well acclimated to global financial systems around the world. For example, here's the United Kingdom Parliament pushing XRP to be the centralized banking digital currency, stating that Ripple allows financial institutions to process payments instantly, reliably, cost-effectively, and with end-to-end visibility anywhere in the world, and saying XRP is a bridge between fiat currencies and further reducing the friction and costs for commercial financial institutions to transact across multiple global markets. Even the Arab Monetary Fund is favoring Ripple for its regional CBDC. But with all the headlines and papers about XRP being the future global digital currency, I want you to take a look at this document right here. And what this is a white paper written by Ripple themselves, an argument as to why CBDC needs to be implemented as soon as possible. And they use really nice words like financial inclusion and foster innovation. And then of course they say stuff like this, like maintain control and making sure central banks maintain sovereignty. In fact, later in the paper, they dive deeper into what that means, stating most existing digital assets are based on decentralized blockchains where every transaction is validated by a public network of hundreds, often thousands of validators, which makes total sense. It's called decentralized free market principles. Central banks will not be willing to relinquish control to a completely distributed model, as they need the ability to direct and influence their economies through currency management, while a fully centralized model would produce the required control. Central banks would miss out on innovations like programmable money and smart contracts that blockchain technology enables. It would also reduce the ability of private sector players to access and collaborate with CBDCs. As in, Ripple is saying, hey, we want all the control at the top, and not only that, we're willing to sacrifice free market principles and innovation, all for the sake of not having other private individuals like us mess with it. I mean, really, if you ask me, the reason why XRP is the one supported by the elitists is, yes, it has all the technological capabilities for it to be a CBDC, and it's easily integrated into existing financial systems. But most importantly, it's how aligned Ripple is with organizations such as the World Economic Forum when it comes to ensuring that cryptocurrency is used to maintain global centralized control for those quote-unquote at the top, even if it means sacrificing innovation and freedoms. Which, with that said, brings us to today and what the future holds for not just XRP, but centralized digital assets in general. So here's what I think is gonna happen, really, in the year 2023, despite that it's already happening now. The next 12 months, we're gonna see massive amounts of stagflation across the world. And on top of that, global leaders will no longer be able to fight, prevent, nor deny the massive amounts of debt that we've accumulated the last 5 to 7 years. The US economy will crash, leading to other countries experiencing the same, and we will have massive financial hardship all across the world. And from within all that chaos, the big campaign for a global centralized bank digital currency will be pushed. And unfortunately, there will be those who will buy in while encouraging others to do so as well. In fact, a report published earlier this year, the World Economic Forum says that central banks and government agencies are looking at the potential of CBDCs to solve perennial global financial crisis issues such as financial inclusion, as in issues that haven't happened yet, but will happen because of us. Now, I get it. This all sounds extremely doom and gloom, but I mean, at this point, I don't know what else to say. This seems more real than doom and gloom. I wish I could tell you that everything's gonna be all right and that Trump is secretly a time traveler who's here to save the children of the world. But regardless, the probable scenario is that within our lifetime, the world will indeed adopt a global digital currency, which means that our dollar will eventually have to crash, which, if you want to learn more information about that, I'm going to put a video in the end screen titled "The Great Reset Confirms the Dollar Crashing." So with that said, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Like this video, share this with your friends, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.